everybody. My name is Judy Tran, Gallego. First, I want to thank CAPMT and USC for having me here. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Dr. Pierce, for having me here today. I'm here to talk to you about two of my projects, my musical projects going on. The first one is with the project's Rhythms of the Village. And this is a West African group began by Nigerian griot Onoche Chukura. And it seeks to create a comprehensive music library of Western African music. So much of this is oral tradition, has been passed down from one griot to the next and from tribe to tribe for ages and generations, and now we seek to write it down. And right now you're looking at the only musicologist doing it. So I will welcome volunteers. So in any case, this piece that I'm going to share with you, hello, come in, have a seat. This piece that I'm going to share with you first today is actually a traditional song from the Yoruba. And the Yoruba are one of the largest tribes in West Africa in today's known Nigeria. They were also one of the tribes to have had the largest numbers of people exported to the North and South Americas as slaves. This particular piece that I'm going to play for you is one that I arranged of a prayer, a traditional prayer called Kere, which means Good Mother Earth. And basically the words mean this: Mother Earth, hear our prayer. We have toiled, we are exhausted, we have been here, we've done that. Mother Earth, please hear our prayer. This piece would have been sung in ensemble, and then you would hear a drum ensemble break out, and most likely people would begin dancing. So some of the things that you should get to know, this is all a well-educated music audience, so I'm going to give you a few tippers for your ears here. They use in West Africa rhythms like Leitmotiven. So particular types of rhythms mean very specific and often very sacred things. So for example, this rhythm, this very simple rhythm you will hear, is called Lamban. And it was used for a lot of prayers in those days, and oftentimes you would see the dancers picking up their feet and waving away evil spirits and then trying to draw in the good. So this is something you're going to hear in here. Usually the ensembles would consist up to about 12 drummers on maybe 4 different parts, so I'm going to attempt to play for you something that 4 drummers would play. Something else that you will notice is that it's very, very common in West African music to have 6/4 against 4/4. Also to have 3-measure phrases played along with 4-measure phrases. So if you do the math, it works out to be, it works out to be about 12 measures before the melody works itself out and the melodies match up again. So anyway, I hope you enjoy listening to this piece, Kere.
Oh
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So, thinking about these slaves and the Yoruba peoples, and I promise this relates to what I'm going to play for you. Think about how much music means to us, certainly as musicians, but just as people in our humanity. Robert Schumann said, "Music forces mankind to face his divinity." How perfect is the music of an art to remind us of the divineness of our own human soul. Now compare this to what Benjamin Franklin said about slavery. He said that slavery is a great debasement of humanity, and that the chains that bind the slave not only bind his body, but fetter his heart, his intellect, and his ability to connect with his soul and with all those around him. And he said it is in all of our human responsibility to take all the slaves and their descendants and restore them to their sense of humanity, to educate them so that they could exercise and enjoy the civil liberties of the American life. Now, how good a job do you think that we've been doing as Americans in this? Please don't answer out loud, but think about this question. Also, I have a few statistics for you. In the United States, about 45.8% of young black children under the age of 6 are living underneath the poverty line. Also, in California, black males make up about 6% of the male population, but they form 27% of our California prison population. African American people in general in the United States form about 13% of the population, but 35% of the US prison population. Now think for a minute about poverty, desperation, racism, less economic opportunities, and how those things lead to addiction, how they lead to actions of desperation, how drug cartels have sought out poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And think beyond that to how our laws even scourge the neighborhoods for whom that is true. And now also consider how, in our prison system today in the United States, major U.S. corporations use our inmates for labor at as little as 23 cents an hour. Now think about the statistics I told you earlier and tell me, has slavery really ended in this country? So that leads me to tell you about my second project, which is Music Between Bars. So I have created a music education and performance program in Lancaster State, well, it's the California State Prison in Lancaster. It's a level 4 facility, so that is the highest level of security. Many of the inmates that I will be working with, the program's just beginning, are LWOPers, which are there for life without possibility of parole. And think again about what our dear Schumann said. Isn't it our responsibility to bring music to those who have had their humanity debased? Think about the worst thing you would have ever done. Now imagine that everyone who saw you always labeled you for that worst thing you had ever done. Think about what we do to people in prison. We label them. You're a child molester. You're a sex offender. You're a murderer. And when they come out, they still have those labels on them. Music has the power to treat the soul. This is why I began this program. So now I'm going to play for you a piece that I wrote for the inmates in my program. This is called There Is Enough Mercy. And I invite you now to join with me in a little meditation. And please keep your eyes closed as you hear this piece. So relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath. I want you to go back to that moment that you can remember of the worst thing you have ever done. Think about that moment. Think about the guilt and the shame. And now I want you to imagine the ocean. It's filled with water, vast majesty. Now imagine that all of that water is mercy. Liquid mercy. That you can immerse yourself into. That you can wash away everything in. There is enough mercy for us all.